Good morning.
Good morning, Linda. I didn't know I had to admit people.
Yeah, Sarah set this one up. It's probably not a bad idea, just so you're not letting some stranger come in.
Yeah, I just never had that happen, so I guess I didn't worry about it. All right,
You
let
would
me
have been
share.
here all by your lonesome and wondered why didn't anybody show up?
Yeah.
Hi, Ed. Hi, Tom.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen.
Hi there.
Hey, Tom. All right. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone?
Doing great.
Doing well.
I don't know who TK is.
Sorry, that's Tama. I still have no idea why it's written that way. I'll see if I can get that changed.
I think if you go into the little three dots, I think you can actually change it.
The three dots. You're probably right, but where? It's not on this screen, is it?
Go to your little square that shows your initials. Hover in the top right corner, and you'll see a little button appear with three dots.
Rename.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was nice and simple.
She's
Yes.
been TK all summer, so.
Exactly. You're
Hi,
right.
Tama.
Hi,
So,
how are you?
Tama, I also don't know who you are.
I teach music.
Okay, great. That means we're in the same department now.
Yes, we are in the same department now.
Yes.
We're sort of math now.
You're sort of math. Well,
Right.
we're sort of music. It works out for me. It's all goes together.
There's a lot of overlap.
Yes, there is. Yes. All
Thanks
right.
for doing this, by the way.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I hope you find it useful. We'll see.
I will absolutely learn something. I know nothing about it.
Okay. All right. So it is time to get started. It's a couple minutes after, so we'll go ahead and get started. Hi, Katie.
Hey, Kate, how's it going?
Going well.
Good.
All right. So I did want to just put a few things you might not have noticed. This webinar is being recorded. If you could put yourselves on mute, which you already have, that's great. However, if you have a question, just please unmute yourself and ask it, because I do better when I get people asking me questions and interacting with me. If you want to, you can put them in the chat, but you're more than welcome to just take yourself off mute and say, hey, I have a question, and that would be perfect. Obviously, I'm going to be sharing my screen, which I already am, and then feel free to ask for help after the webinar. So if you need help after the webinar, then just let me know, and I can certainly help. Okay. You all can see my screen, right? Okay, perfect. Thank you, Tom. I saw you shaking your head. Okay, so what I want to do is talk a little bit about what I use my pen tablet for. And this is actually brought to me by Kim Saunier. She had actually suggested this for when we were teaching in class. So we do a lot of guided notes in our math classes to where we don't actually have to write everything on the board. We actually start a few things that are a little different. That's weird. Okay. I have a couple of people that were in the waiting room that I didn't know were in the waiting room. Okay. All right. So, so what I do is we have these guided notes, and I actually have them in a Word document, which is the Word document we're in right now, that talks about it. And I can actually just highlight what I want to copy and then copy it. And then I use a program called Smart Notebook. So I go into my little, I'm not a PC person, so I'm having a hard time this summer learning my PC. But Smart Notebook is the app I use. Those of you who are on campus, we actually, because we have smartboards on campus, we have the ability to use this software for free. So you can certainly ask IT about getting this on your computer on campus. And I find this is a great program to use. Why did it not open? Oh, there it is. It's just really slow. Okay. So it's going to open a little bit, and then I can actually paste that stuff I just copied straight into the Smart Notebook. And I'm going to do a new file. It's very slow. Okay. And you can actually just say paste right here on this. You don't need to actually do anything at this point. But you notice it's kind of small. You can actually resize it, making it bigger by just dragging it a little bit. It has this thing where it does that, where it just decides it's going to make it whatever size it wants. So I usually just do that. You can also, this is a text, and it has text editor on here. So I can actually highlight this and come up here to my text, and I can actually change the size. So I can make the size bigger or smaller if I want to. So I'm going to make it maybe not that big, but maybe that big, or maybe this big. And this way my students can actually see what I'm going to be working with. And now I actually use my pen tablet. So let me go back. The pen tablet, can you all see this, or in my little tiny picture of me? This is what the pen tablet looks like. And it's got a little pen here, and it's just, this is just a board we write on. And then in here, it now can work as a mouse. So I can actually, once I get it working, I can actually click on here with things. I can move it around. I can do anything on here with this. I'm going to go over here to pens. So we got different options in Smartboard Book. These two things here give you a new page, gives the next page. You can actually add a page. So if you have several pages, you can add a page in between. You can delete a page. You can save it, which is what I like to do a lot. And then there's even some other programs I don't actually use, like this show and hide screen thing. And a lot of times what I'll do is copy things into here and then have this available for me later. And then I can work with it from there. And there's different options. You can draw pictures. There's shapes you can put in. So you can put a heart in if you want to. I don't want that heart, so I'm going to actually undo that because I don't really want that heart in my picture. But there's different pictures, different shapes you can put in that you want to use. You can change the color of anything if you want to. You can array, do polygons, which is something I do a lot of in my math class. You can fill the polygons if you want to. And then, like I said, you have the text. You can also draw lines if you need to draw a line. And you can erase, and you can pick the size of the eraser you want to do. But I'm gonna go into pens, and that's what I normally use is pens. You can pick which color. I personally like to use blue. And then I can say, okay, what is the basic? I can now start writing in my notes. So this is what my students would now see. And then I would write down my here with this. So I can say that, well, actually, that's not what I'd say because that's not what I'm supposed to say. So I can erase. And then f of t equals x and g of t equals y. And I can therefore write in what I want to put in there. And if I want to put more on this page, I can have this little at the bottom, it says extend page. I can extend the page and make the page much bigger. So if I now want to add more onto this page, I can come back over here into my Word document, copy this. Let's say I want to put in the curve, copy this and paste this. And then I can just paste it right in here. It puts it where I don't want it necessarily. So I can now go pick it up. Oops, I can't do that. So let's undo that. So then we can go and pick the little arrow to select. I can go select it. I can pick it up and move it where I want. And again, I'm going to make this bigger so we can see that word.
Kate, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So the Word document that's behind this on my screen is showing on your monitor, right?
Yes.
And then the Smart Notebook is like a second display, and it's displaying this Smart Notebook app on it. Is that
Yes.
true?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you've got like dual screens. One of them's the Bamboo tablet. Well, no. So
Well, the Bamboo tablet is actually not a program that we need to run. It actually is just it basically acts like your mouse.
okay.
You have to have a driver for it on there. You would need to make sure IT puts on your computer, but otherwise it's just there. It's just running it. I can make this screen bigger, and it can fill the whole screen.
And that's on your computer. So
That's on my
I'm
computer.
thinking like iPad, but this is just
Yeah.
the Bamboo tablet's just like your mouse, but you have more finer control with the pen.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
And I personally like to make little bits on every page. So I probably wouldn't have put this curve thing on here. I probably would actually have done it on a new page. So I can actually cut this. So if I click on the picture and then click on this little arrow here, I can now cut it. And I would do a new page. And so I can do new page two different ways. I can do just next page, or I can say add page. I usually just use next page. And now I have a new page, and I can now paste that on this spot. And I like to do that because I'm going to show you at the end, one of the things I do is I actually save this for my students as a PDF. And this way they can actually see the things per page, and it spreads things out. But you can put lots of stuff on a single page. So now I could now, again, draw something. I might go ahead and draw a curve. And I might have a curve, and let's pick a different color. Let's go with green. And there's my curve. And then I can say, well, I want to actually show what direction it's going. So I can put little arrows on here, and I can put little dots here and say that this is T1 and this dot here is T2. And so I can write all that information on here for my students to see. What's nice is I can actually change the different colors. So if I don't like one of those colors, I have more colors I can pick here. I do have a slight issue where I had a student who was colorblind. So I could only use one color because he didn't see any other colors. He actually was basically, he saw everything in gray. So I couldn't use multiple colors too often for him, or there's certain colors I couldn't use. I couldn't use red because he didn't see red at all. I couldn't use green because they didn't see green at all. So you got to be careful about that. If you have students that might be colorblind, they may not see the materials. But other than that, I can pick different colors just like we do in our whiteboards in our classroom. All right. I personally like the color purple, so I usually pick purple a lot. But be careful, don't pick yellow, because if you pick yellow, you can't see it very well. So that's a problem with picking certain colors. So make sure that you pick a color that makes sense. You also, by the way, have a highlighter. So if I come over here to pens, oh, here it is. Here, pens, I can actually pick a highlighter. So if I want to, whoops, not crayon, highlighter. If I want to highlight something and say, this is really important, I can highlight that. So that's kind of a nice feature also. And so then I would just go back to my Word document. And usually actually what I do is I create these already and put these into different pages so that I'm not going back and forth to the Word document. I just want to show you how I would do this. And then I would copy this. Now the problem is, if I were to copy this text and paste this text in to my document, and again, I'm going to go to a new page and I'm going to paste this in. The problem is that, well, this one actually did copy. Sometimes these symbols don't copy very well. They aren't, the program doesn't know what to do with them. So this time it actually did copy them, okay? But sometimes, especially in math, we have programs where it doesn't copy it well at all. So what we do in that case is if you have something where it won't copy, or you have an image you want to put in and you can't get it in there easily, you can actually paste images in. But if you want to, you can also do snippet. So if we go to the start menu and type in snippet, because I can't spell. And I guess there's a new one called Snip and Sketch. So I'm gonna use that one instead because it keeps asking me if I want to use it anyway. And then I just do a new, and I'm gonna go and highlight what I want to copy. It will then put that in a snippet tool. I can say I want to copy that and then go back to my document. I'll do a new page here for just a second. And now it'll paste it in there. Again, I can resize this a little bit, but not a whole lot. And this is now an image, so I can't actually change the size of the font. But there's another way to put things in here, and you can paste these in also. So this is a lot of times what I do, especially in math, we have some really complicated equations that we have to put in there. So that's a lot of what I do. The other nice thing about Smart Notebook that I like is that you actually can do search for different types of pictures. So there actually is a way you can put different pictures in here. This is obviously written for K through 12, so we have some really younger things here sometimes, but there's actually some ones you can do that are a little bit different. I believe you can actually do a search and say, I want to put in a coordinate plane. So let's just see if I can find coordinate. Maybe I should type in math. Oops. Except I can't spell math again. Okay. If math comes up. So there's also some interactive things you can put in here. Oh, here we go. Here's the thing. So you can actually, I'll do a new page here. And I can actually put in dots if I wanted to. So just double click on it. Now I've got dots if I wanted them. If I wanted to have more dots, if I wanted to have a Venn diagram, I could put that in there. If I wanted to put in a calendar, I have that option to pick. If you want your students to work on doing an agenda, you can do that, put that in. And there's all these different options you can put in. If you happen to be teaching something that deals with physics and understanding how you can fly, that would be something you could put in there. I bet there's things in there about anatomy, physiology, Tom. There's maps and such that you can put in. Let's see. I know somewhere in here is just a coordinate plane, but I can't remember exactly where it is. So I wonder if I can now search and say I want coordinate plane. No, so usually the search it works, and I don't know why it's not working today. If you want to have your students do something with learning how to draw, I mean, again, this is K through 12, so we wouldn't want to be doing that very often. The periodic chart.
Kate, I thought I saw coordinate. Kate, I thought I saw a coordinate plane right by the dots
Okay, let's go
near
to
at
the
the
top.
top of the math.
No, I think these are all dots.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. But you can put the periodic chart in here. So if you want your students to be working on that, that's available for you. There's a pie chart. Now, unfortunately, I've actually put all of these on top of each other, so this is going to be an interesting page at the moment, but that's okay. We'll deal with that in a moment. Plate tectonics are here. So if you're teaching that kind of class, you can put that information in there. And if you're teaching about, I just saw it, like it was a bug life thing. Or turtle, sea turtle dissection, you can have that. So there's different things we can look at. And work through, and usually I go and find them all and see what I need and can get them. And usually I prepare this before I'm doing my class and just have a page with each one of these things on it so that I can work with that and have my students kind of playing around with it. But I'm not finding the coordinate plane, and it's really driving me nuts because I usually can find the coordinate plane. Oh, maybe it's in backgrounds. That's where it is. I'm gonna get a new page because I've got a whole bunch of things on this page. And oops. Oh, it did them on every single page. There we go. Okay. So if I want to add in a page, I just hit add page, and now I have a blank page and I can add in this grid. So there's a grid. So now I can actually draw my own. There's a polar coordinate plane. So this is where it is. It's under the last one, which is backgrounds. And there's a coordinate plane for those who teach math and want to do that. There's a semi-log plane. There's a logistic plane. There's an XY plane. And I use this a lot in my classes. And again, I usually prepare this stuff ahead of time. And now I can actually go and write on it. So I can now actually go pick a color and say, I want to put a picture on here. And now I can put a picture on here and then draw on it. And if you don't like where you put that, you can actually click on the select button and move that and move it to wherever you want it. I think you can even rotate it. So if you don't like where you have it, you can rotate it and be upside down. You can also recognize the shape if you want to. You can duplicate it, clone it. There's different options you can do with this. And right now I'm doing all of this with my 10 pen tablet. I'm not actually using my mouse at all anymore. And you can draw a line on here. And if you want the line to have arrows, you can put arrows on here. Sorry, sometimes my, I can put an arrow on this. And draw one with an arrow if I want. And so forth. So you got different options you can do with these and different pictures you can draw and different backgrounds you can put on. And now what I do is I now want to save this for myself. So I usually save this under save. I just say I want to save it, and it would save it as something, and I could put it where I want it to be. So let's say I call it webinar summer And I try to make it something that makes sense. A lot of times what I do is save them based on the date, but sometimes that doesn't always work as well. So it's up to you. I don't want to put it here. Let's see, I'll put it here. So then I can save it. And now what I can do is I can go back and open that document again. So if I come back later, I can, especially if I put it in my U drive, I can then access it in different computers and different classrooms. If you're using a Smartboard, you can do that. But I can do that, and I have now the ability to come back to this. But your students can't play with this. They can't read this because it's Smart Notebook and they don't have that software. So what you can also do under File is go to Export As, and then you can pick to export as a web page, an image file, a PowerPoint, a PDF. I don't know what a CFF is, but we're going to do a PDF is normally what I do, is I save it as a PDF. And then you can pick it to do just thumbnails on each page, but I find that my students actually prefer it to be the full page. And that way they have the notes for that one page here. They can then annotate on it. They can see it better. So they prefer if I do it as a full page instead of as the thumbnails. I've never used the handout one because again, it still makes them kind of small, but I've been using the full page. My students like that. And then I save this. And again, I can save it as whatever name I want, webinar, summer. And I usually try to save it the same name as I did the other one and same location, and I save that. And now I have the ability to go post that in my Canvas show. So what I actually have done is usually I create my material ahead of time, copy that, save that as a PDF, post that in my Canvas shell so my students actually can download my notes before I annotate them. And then I do them afterwards so they can also download them if they don't take notes. And it's kind of a useful piece for them. So I give them that option. Also, let's say you want to go back to a different page. Let's say I'm on this page right now, but I wanted to go and look at the aircraft wing page. I have the ability over here on the left-hand side of the screen. I have all the different pages I've created. I can arrow up to all of them, see what they all are, and go back to that page and say, oh, I wanted to tell you something about this page. We want to talk about that one and go back to it. So that's a nice feature that I really like about this, is that I have that ability to do that. And like I said, I can extend the pages, make them longer. I'll go ahead and do that this time, just so you can see a little bit more about how that works. I don't want this in there. I don't know how it got there, so we're going to delete that. I usually like to erase. Oh no, it's not letting me erase. Okay. All right, so we're going to remove that. Delete. Here we go. All right, and so now I would go ahead and go back to here, and I'd say, okay, now I want to do, and you don't know what this math is. Most of you aren't math people, so I'm not going to show you the math itself, but let's just say I wanted to draw this picture, and I go ahead and draw it, and I don't have it drawn correctly, so forgive me, Debbie, for not drawing this correctly because I didn't actually take the time to do that. But now I want to extend the page and I want to show a little bit more with it. So now I want to talk about, let's do X and Y values. And I can do those values there and put all those values there and have my T value here and pick my X and Y values and do that. And then I want to extend the page again. And I want to now say, I can actually type, I'm right in words, the graph is incorrect. So I can write that. You can also type, by the way, so you can actually type if you want to. So if you don't like your handwriting, you want to, you can actually say, this is how I type. And you can change the color of the type, just like you would do anything else. So I can actually highlight the type and say I want to pick a different color for it. I want it to be in red. And now it's in red. And I can extend the page again. And if I type anything more on here, now you're going to notice if you look over on the left-hand side. So I'm going to go back to my pen. And I'm just trying to type something here so you have it. You can see this page is now a lot bigger, a lot longer than this other page. If I go back to this one, This one's all still here. It's just much longer and I have to arrow down to see it all. So then what I can do is, again, I can put this in Canvas. So I'm going to go into my Canvas shell, show you a little bit of how I would do this. I hate that these Facebook things come up all the time. I got to get rid of that. Okay. And I'm going to go, I don't have any of my courses set up for fall yet. I'm a little behind. So I'll just go into a previous semester where I did do something. And I can now go in and go into my Canvas shell. I actually have a place on my stuff where I actually have my class notes. So here's my Canvas shell. This is actually for my in-person classes, which basically my classes in the fall are considered in-person classes. So I usually do this. I don't use modules for that class, but you can if you wanted to. So I can go into class notes and I can then now just say I want to edit this page. And I want to go to the bottom of my class notes here. Oops, don't know what I just did there. Go to the bottom of my class notes and hit enter. And I can now go ahead and say I would like to add, and I don't like design tools. That's not where I usually just go and say I want to add a file. And I want to upload a new file. And I'm going to choose my file. I'm going to choose the one we just created, which was in documents. Again, I'm a Mac person, so I don't know how to use this thing hardly very well. I just got this right before we went on remote. So I'm still learning things. And here it is. So make sure you grab the one that's the Adobe and not the notebook file because your students can't read that. I've actually done that by accident. I just say I want to upload that. I'm going to go ahead and upload it. And there it is. And then I can save it. And now if I look on this page, and I organize my stuff a little bit differently than this. I don't normally put this at the very bottom. Now I can actually go and look at it. I can actually bring it up and it'll show up right here. And there's exactly what I created on the different pages. And everything I typed and annotated is there. And it's all sitting there waiting for my students to now download and look at the notes. So this is kind of what I do for my classes and how I arrange them and what I give my students. And like I said, I will post the kind of the guided notes beforehand so they can download those and watch when they're watching the video. They can be filling things in. And then I also post the notes afterwards in case somebody doesn't want to take notes, because I have some students that do that. How you all doing? Nobody's talking. Don't like that.
You're
Not a
doing
good-
great. This is cool. This is really wonderful.
Yeah. I do want to also show you that you can use the pen tablet to grade. Because of FERPA issues, I didn't want you to see what I was doing. So I thought I created a fake grade thing to grade, and now I'm not seeing it. Let me make my window bigger. I thought I did this. Huh. I thought maybe I did it in my other class. Let me go to my other class. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So I created one just so you wouldn't see everybody else's. This is just my upload of something. And it's obviously not homework. It was just a page of something. But I can actually use the pen tablet to grade with. And you can actually do either, you can type, in which case you're not using the pen tablet, or you can, and this is in Speed Grader. So I'm in Speed Grader and I can actually pick this little, looks like a pen, a paintbrush. And now I can say, this is wrong. I wouldn't actually do that, by the way. I usually give my students a little bit more than just this is wrong, but just I can write that and have that there. And then I can check, I had to check the little checkbox to say I want to save that. And now I have that there that's annotated on here. And I can go through and I can say, oh, look at this problem. This one's not correct. And I can actually also pick a highlighter sometimes the highlighter works and sometimes it doesn't, because the highlighter actually isn't working, because that's a speed grader thing. Sometimes, like in some things, if they're Word documents or some PDFs, it will let me highlight and do the strike through. A lot of times I'll just type. So I might say, this is a problem here. Work on this. And again, this is not what I'd write my students. This is not what I would actually tell my students. I would actually tell them where I think the mistake is and what there might be an error with what they wrote. But I just wanted you to get an idea of what you can type. I can also move these around. So if I don't like the positioning in it, I can move it around a little bit and put that there. And then I can put in different information here for my students.
May I interrupt for a moment?
Of course.
So I've been using SpeedGrader, but not this. Does SpeedGrader allow you to do this, or are you superimposing a program on top of it?
This is SpeedGrader. I'm not superimposing anything. It's exactly SpeedGrader itself that I'm using.
Okay, I'll go figure that out.
Yeah, so it should be these little things. There should be these buttons up here. You don't have these?
I probably do, and I haven't been
Okay.
working that way. I've been giving a lot of comments on the side under assignment comments.
Yes, and I've done that too. But I like this because I can now say, hey, I need to give you some more information here. And by the way, I can change colors in these. I like purple, so I always grade in purple. I don't grade in red.
I don't either.
But I can actually write more information here and say, I want to put some information. I want to change a color here. So I might pick this one to be purple and say 3 or whatever it is. But this is all inside of SpeedGrader, and it all puts it in there for you. So,
No, this is great, because then I can
Yeah.
comment right next to what they've written and say, this is more of what we're looking for.
Yeah, and that's actually something I also do is I will put an arrow and say, this is where this comment goes, and this is what I need you to look at. And I don't know if you can draw very well, but you could maybe put a music symbol if you needed to. It's a really bad quarter note, by the way. Just thought I'd let you know that this is what I was trying to draw with a quarter note for you, but I'm not very good at my quarter notes. You can also make comments here. So you can actually leave a comment that's attached directly to that statement and say, make a comment here and say, this is a quarter note. And then it's there. And that comment's now there. And then I can go ahead and grade this. I can now say, hey, I'm going to grade this and give the student a grade. And then go back out. And let's say now go into student view. And go into assignments. I'm going to go look at that assignment and see what the comments were my teacher made. So that was homework 1, section 1.1. And I can now go into it and look at it, and I can, I always have to remember how to do this. Submission details, and then view feedback. And there's all my comments that I just typed. And as a student, I can't do much with them, but I can actually, they're there and I can see what comments my teachers made and where they go. So that's kind of nice. And I can, I guess, no, I can't. I thought maybe you could reply to this, but you can't. So you can see everything your teacher had to say about your work. So that's kind of a nice feature too. And then the pen tablet makes it a lot easier. I've been actually, a lot of times I do just typing, but my students don't always leave space for me to type. Okay, so I'm gonna leave the student view. And so that's kind of what I do with my classes and how I work with the pen tablet and use it. I did want to also show you that in Zoom, I'm gonna stop sharing for just a moment. Zoom actually has built into it. I keep doing that. Okay. Oh, that's weird. Okay, there it goes. Okay. It also has, if you go into share screen, and go into whiteboard. It actually has a whiteboard that is in Zoom itself. And you can use the pen tablet here too. So you can actually put things in here, pick different colors, draw if you want to, draw different things. So you can use straight into here. But what I haven't seen working really well is how to save it. And you can't extend a new page. You actually just have to clear the page and go to a new thing, which means if you want to come back and show your students something that you had written down, you can't do that anymore. So I prefer the Smart Notebook because it keeps all my pages separate, and I can go back and say, oh, I want to go back and talk about this thing here. Or remember we talked about this, and go back and look at it. And so I like that. Whereas here, you can't do that. You can save it. So you can actually save it. It will save it. It just puts it in a Zoom folder for you, and you can have each page saved, and then you can clear it. But again, that means I can't refer back to it, which is one of the things I really like about the Smart Notebook software. Okay. All right. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. Does anybody have any questions that they want me to go over and talk more about? I see some things in the chat. Sorry, I'm not really good at looking at the chat, so I apologize.
I appreciate this, kid. This was really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Has anybody used other tablets and compared like the Bamboo tablet to the Wacom tablet to some of the other ones? Like, do you know what the major differences are between the different tablets?
I don't, but you know what? Mine says Bamboo tablet, and then it also says Wacom. So I
Oh,
think
it
they're
is a
very similar.
Wacom. Okay.
They're the Wacom.
Yeah, Wacom kind of took them over, I think.
Yeah. So I haven't used anybody else's tablets, but I don't really think there's gonna be much difference. Really, it makes it to where you can do, and actually, let me share my screen again and show you one other thing I do want to show you that we can do. And I'm gonna go back to my Smart Notebook, and I'm gonna add in a page because I don't want to have to go all the way to the bottom. I can use my mouse. So if you don't have a tablet, you can actually type in with your mouse. But I've been writing 3x plus 5y with my tablet, and this is with my mouse. So it took a lot longer to write that than when I did it with my tablet. That was much faster with my tablet, but I can do it with my mouse. It is possible. If you don't have a tablet, you can write with your mouse. It's just a little bit more work to do. Okay. All right, any other questions or comments?
Hey, Kate, I missed the beginning, but the Smart Notebook software, is that something that you get from ITS?
Yes, so ITS will give that to you. Because we bought Smartboards on campus, I believe everybody can get access to the Smartboard notebook.
Oh, okay.
It is on my work computer, not on my home computer. So I don't know what would happen if you needed to put it on your home computer.
Right. Thanks.
Any other questions? So you're like my students. Nobody's talking. I hate that.
I'm typing. You were saying such cool stuff.
Well, thank you, Tom.
Yeah, this was really, really neat.
Yeah.
I think it's been helpful too to show how the speed grader can work with it, because I struggle all the time. I hate typing up my notes on papers and stuff. It's just I just want to shoot myself. I mean, do you know how much they cost? Or
So I know I bought one some time ago, and I thought it was like $100, but that was a while ago. I don't know how much they are right now.
I want to say between 50 and 100, like something like 69 or 70.
okay.
So you could get your department to see if they have some funds that they could buy them for you. And
I have to get my department to buy me a computer.
well, that I can't help you with, but but I don't think these are considered capital because they're so cheap. So I don't think you have to worry about being capital funds. Get your department to buy them if your department has any money. That's a big
Good
deal.
Direct shows that the Wacom Bamboo tablet is $130.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
okay. I didn't realize there was that much. Okay.
I did not either.
Thank you for looking it up, Tom. So I know in the math department and now music department, in the math department, we actually did buy some tablets, and I think all the full-timers have them. I don't know what Jenny's plans are for part-timers to get some, so I would ask Jenny about, she's in charge of the budget and not me.
Yeah,
And
if
see
I
how that
wanted
could
to
go.
play with one.
Yeah. So I find them very, very, very useful. They are sometimes a little picky though. Sometimes you'll be working along and it won't work. And you'll be like, what's going on? And then you use your mouse and you try to figure out what's going on, and then it suddenly starts working again. And it might just be mine's old and that's why it's doing that. I don't know.
Cool. Well,
So-
thanks so much. I appreciate it. Does
Welcome.
anybody else have any questions? And we'll be sure to share the link to this to the rest of the school.
And I should mention, by the way, that you can in Word, you can put in pictures in Word. So if you don't want to use a Smartboard notebook or you don't have access to it, you can actually put in draw something, and you can actually use this tablet to do that. So you can go ahead and pick up here, and you can actually type in something in here. So if you don't want to use that, you can use this in anywhere you want to. This is basically just a mouse that can be used in different programs. So I should mention that. And of course my phone is going to ring right now. And you can highlight and so forth with it. So that's a nice feature, is that you can do that, is put it into a Word document too, or any other document.
So you'll be using this while you're teaching your face-to-face, which is now Zoom face-to-face courses in the fall. And this basically enables us to write on the board as though we were in the classroom.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and that's
does
what you were
exactly
doing
that.
last semester when we flipped to not being able to teach face-to-face anymore?
Right.
Okay.
So I actually did this for my last semester. I actually, for my differential equations class, I especially use this in differential equations because
That makes sense.
yeah, you can't write that, you can't type that stuff, most of it.
And I have the same thing in music. There's so much stuff that if I don't write it down, no matter how many times I say it, it's not going to matter.
Right, right. And the nice thing about the videos is that your students can go back and watch it again. So you say something, it's there, you can put your video up also. I use Zoom for my videos and I put those up into my Canvas shell. I have a YouTube channel I put them on to, and I put them into my Canvas shell. And then I have that ability to put them in my Canvas shell, and my students can now go back and watch them again. So I actually give my students the pre-notes, the filled in notes, and the videos that I created.
Wow.
And they get to see all of that. And so it's a nice feature for my students is they have that ability to go look at that material.
Well, for differential equations, they need that.
Yes, for that
Yeah.
class, for sure. But even my stats class, I do the same thing. I am going to this fall create videos for my stats class and my calc class that that my students can go watch ahead of time. And then for the synchronous part, I'm going to do group works and use the Zoom rooms, which I still have to figure out how to use. So that's what I have to.
I'm
do.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I just have to figure out how to use Zoom rooms still.
You're creating the videos prior to class, because I'm thinking about doing that for some of the units, creating a 5 to 10 minute video, especially on huge units like the Baroque and the 20th century to modern, where there's just so much material that if I create 5 to 10 minute videos, it'll at least break it down for them and make it easier to facilitate what's online already.
Right. Right. So I actually do that. That's my plan, is to do that. And exactly what you just said, I was also going to comment. 5 to 10 minute videos is perfect. Don't make
I
them too
can't
much
handle
longer.
more.
Yeah.
It's too much psychologically. Yeah.
Right. So last semester, I actually synchronously did my notes in class and videotaped and recorded that. I tried to break up my recordings though a little bit so that it wasn't the whole
Right.
hour, 2.5 hour class, but I tried to do that. So you can do that if you want to. And then just break up. If you actually stop recording and then start recording again, it will give you multiple recordings.
Oh,
So you
cool.
can do
Okay.
each one as a separate upload.
And you're saying we have some of this available, through the math department, that I can talk to Jenny and see if I can at least get my hands on some of this to make some videos?
Yes, yeah, I would ask Jenny what we have available and if we have any more money to buy more.
Okay,
So yeah, I would ask her.
I'll do that.
Yeah. Anything else?
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. So again, please email me. I will gladly take your emails and answer any questions you have. If we're on campus, you're more than welcome to come to my office if you need some help, with masks, of course. But I'll be in my office a little bit. I'm going to try to teach from my classroom. So I'm going to try to make videos for my classroom because I like the big smart boards. And they're a little bit nicer than the pen tablet. But if I have to be at home, I have to be at home. Or I might be in my office. I haven't figured out exactly how I'm doing this fall. Which I only have 3-4 weeks to figure that out, right? I got time. So we're all going to be good. All right. So if you notice, Luke posted a thing to do a feedback for the session. So please give some feedback on the session. We'd love to see that. And I thank you all for being here. And please contact me if you have any questions.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you, Kate.
You're welcome.
Thanks again.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Kate. This was great.
Thanks.